Hey YouTube, petey twofinger here with a recommend video. It's a band called Battles, and they're putting out a new album in October, which is called Juice Be Crips. It's a four-piece band that's whittled its way down to a three-piece, and now they're a two-piece. So the history of Battles, they started out around 2004, releasing their first EPs. And then they had an album called Mirrored, which had a kind of a single that went around called Atlas, which was a really fun song. That was when they had a singer on board named Hyundai Braxton, who left halfway through the production of their second album, Gloss Drop, left to pursue a solo career. So they had some guest vocalists, including Gary Newman, um, and some other people I'm not as familiar with. Now they have another album that came out maybe 2005 or 2018 maybe, called La Di Da. And now they've got Juice B, Crips, and the departure of Kanapka. They're down to a two-piece because Dave Kanapka was like their pedalboard guy. Battles music is challenging in the sense that it doesn't sound anything like you've ever heard, but it's very melodic and easy to digest. So while they really go out there and they're really experimental, it's kind of grounded in its sensibility and musicality, I would say. But that doesn't go to say that it's like you couldn't categorize it. I came up with the phrase to try to categorize Battles when I first started listening to them, and it was like 12 different genres combined. But they're not a genre skipping band. Battles really you just have to listen to it. There's no way you could describe it. It sounds very modern and it sounds very unique. It doesn't sound like any other band. And they were using a combination of laptops connected to loopers, pitch shifters, delays, and they had one guy that was Ian Webster, I think his name is. It's not Webster, is it? Ian was more the Ian Williams, excuse me. He was more like using the laptop and really high technology. Ableton. He uses Ableton Push, which is since 2002 to the present, which I believe that's their hardware controller that Ableton has. Now, when you see him, he's often wearing a guitar, but he'll be playing a keyboard. There's all kinds of different amplifiers and pedals. The other guy, Dave Kanapka, who departed after the last album, he was more of the pedalboard guy. He would have like three Line 6 DL4 loopers, and he would be in there punching on those stop switches, reorganizing these loops that he was triggering off. So they did some really unique sounding stuff all the way from the beginning of their career, and then kind of getting more and more involved and taking it further. Is what I hear with Battles. Is they're just an amazing electronic rock band that they do really well with high technology in music. So the new album is called Juice Be Crips. They've got some guest vocalists on that. Shabazz Palaces, a band from Taiwan, a Taiwanese psych band. Prairie WWWW is the name of the band. So it'll be interesting to see what they've got a single up, which is called Titanium Two Step. Their studio albums, basically, you got some EPs that came out. There was an EP called Tonto, which was the first thing that I got from them. And then Mirrored came out. Mirrored had this song Atlas, which that would be a good starting point. That Mirrored album is almost, I don't want to say almost, it's a classic album. It's flawless. They could not have done a better job on it's really their first major label release, I would say. And they knocked it out of the park. It's incredible. You can kind of hear like their roots in there a little bit, like psychedelic music generally, but it's just very adventurous and very brave. And you kind of can't categorize it, which is so cool. They're such a unique band. Glossdrop was the technically their second album, and that's where we see Gary Newman, My Machines, and they had some other fairly big name people in there. Forgive me for not remembering who it is, but there's instrumentals. All Battles music, you'll see instrumentals and music that has vocals on it. But there's a healthy amount of instrumentals. And we do need to address the fact that John Stanier is their drummer. John was from a 90s band called Helmet, and he's an exceptional, very talented drummer. He also played in Mike Patton's Tomahawk project, which was Dwayne Dennison. I really should say it was Dwayne Dennison's band. And Dwayne is the guitar player from Jesus Lizard. So if you're familiar with that music, you could he's got like a very percussive, angular guitar style. It's very unique. Tomahawk's a wonderful band. They've got 4 or 5 albums, just not really a bad song in the entire catalog, and a really wonderful live band. Of course, Mike Patton fronting it. So this John Stanier is also in this Battles band, and this is the band where we see them like pushing the envelope of what you can do with music technology. I've never heard anybody come close to what this band has done as far as coming up with a new sound. This is really something to be said if you listen to their albums, and if you're able to digest it, that they're using all this technology, but it's so musical and it's so enjoyable and accessible, almost in a pop sense. So hats off to these guys. I can only imagine it must be a very challenging band to work in. We see John Braxton taken off, and then the third album, La Di Da, is released in 2015, which I'm not that familiar with that album. I know the Yaba is a track that I know. I'm going to have to get that and check that out. Let me see. Mirrored on the US Indie chart, it says 26. Glossdrop was 19. And then La Di Da was 33. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check out La Di Da. After that album, that's when Dave Konopka left. He's their pedalboard guy, where Ian Williams is more... I think Ian Williams is the guy that's writing the music. I think he is Battles. Obviously, because we see the departure of Konopka, and there's a single Titanium two-step, and it sounds... You can't tell that Konopka's gone. It sounds exactly the same. So I'm guessing that he might be a little difficult to work with, that guy, Ian Williams, but he obviously hasn't pissed off Stanier. Although technically I could see this guy just doing it all himself, because it looks pretty incredible, his stage setup. They use JC120 amps. They use quite a bit of amps. He's always like got a guitar strapped on, but he's playing keyboards, and he's playing keyboard and guitar at the same time. Really an interesting band. So here we see the scheduled release is October 18th, 2019 on the Warp label, which must be their label. I've never heard of it. Juice B Crips is the name of the album. Titanium two-step is already out. You can see the video for that. If you haven't checked out this band, Battles, I would tell you check out My Machines, check out Ice Cream, and check out Atlas. Atlas is probably the first thing that just get the whole discography. It's Battles. This is really, really good stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Tonight I'm going to an Eagles, not the Eagles, man. Get out of my cab. Was that scene from Big Lebowski? We're going to see an Eagles tribute band tonight called Heartache Tonight. It's a Thursday night. They're playing at the Outdoor Mall. The show was canceled earlier in the summer for rain, so they're doing a pickup date. We like to go see live music for free. Whatever cover band it is, it doesn't matter so much the band. It's just a reason to get out of the house instead of sitting in front of CRT screens and watching a movie or entertaining ourselves by watching some YouTube. We like to go and check out some live music. And like I said, it's not doesn't really matter what the band is. I mean, it would be great if they were all really good uh, original music bands, but they're not. They're always cover bands. So you take the good with the bad. It's free. So I've got my windscreen came in for my mic. So maybe I'll bring the camcorder down there and shoot some footage. My buddy Gary is he works for the cable TV station for the town, local access, and he'll be there filming with a couple of Canon cameras set up. So I can set up next to him. I can set my tripod up next to him and get some footage and play around with the setup and see what the mic sounds like with the turning the automatic gain control on and off, turning the limiter on and off, that type of stuff. All right, you guys, look forward to. I've got some footage from the Steely Dan tribute band, and I'm going to get this Eagles footage. So maybe I'll put a couple of those songs up on here just so the zeros and ones don't go to a complete waste. And I'll see you soon. We should be going out Sunday for a remote music thing, and so look for more live stuff from the duo coming up real soon. And peace.